Record. And so let's say welcome to the Unity of Livonia, Michigan, a Course in Miracles study group. And we're here every Tuesday evening from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And this group has been around for a long time. So we have a illustrious history together, and we're quite a Course in Miracles family, wouldn't you say? So yes. Welcome to everyone tonight, and we're about to get started with our readings. So Gina, is there anyone who does not want to read tonight? How about you, Hilda?
No, please no. I would like no. I don't like.
Right.
Can't do it today.
Got that. And Sue, welcome. Good to see you again. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
So you know the question that needs to be asked. Do you have your supplement?
No, I don't have it with me, but I'll listen. I did get your email.
Okay, good deal. So Sue's not reading tonight and Hilda's not reading tonight. So it looks like Gina has recovered her #1 spot, reader spot. Debbie is 2, Kathleen 3, D 4, Joan 5, and Ron 6. Did I leave anyone out? Okay, well, I'm excited to get started. We are on the process of illness. We're starting with paragraph 7 on page 10. So Gina, if you get us on into it, please.
All right, my paragraph 7 starts on page 11.
And mine is on page 20.
It says starts with illness is therefore a mistake. Is that correct paragraph?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, here we go. Illness is therefore a mistake and needs correction. And as we have already emphasized, correction cannot be achieved by first establishing the rightness of the mistake and then overlooking it. If illness is real, it cannot be overlooked in truth, for to overlook reality is insanity. Yet that is magic's purpose, to make illusions true through false perception. This cannot heal, for it opposes truth. Perhaps an illusion of health is substituted for a little while, but not for long. Fear cannot long be hidden by illusions, for it is part of them. It will escape and take another form, being the source of all illusions.
Yeah, thank you, Gina. Any comments? Yes. No comment? Let's read a little further then, okay?
Well, my comment is it reminds me of the same deal as forgiveness process with the illness, that you can't first, correction cannot be achieved by first establishing the rightness of the mistake and then overlooking it. That's the same deal with the forgiveness process.
Explain how you see them as so related.
Well, we can't first establish that the correction was that you're wrong, but I'll forgive you.
Mm-hmm. It says it cannot be achieved by first establishing the rightness. You mean rightness or wrongness?
Yeah, of your mistake, and then overlook it.
Okay. So you're saying that certain illusions can be overlooked if they're judged to be right.
Well, that's how
So
we do it
there's
wrongly.
an evaluation process first.
Yeah, that's how we do it the wrong way.
Yeah, that's a great insight to me. Any other comments? And then it goes on to say, yet that is magic's purpose, right?
Mm.
To make illusions true.
Right.
Through a diversion called process or levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's putting in an artificial thing first to judge the worthiness of the illusion and then make a judgment based on that evaluation. And is Jesus here suggesting that there is no process involved? Y'all following me or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And yet magic would insert this process. You know, I remember in the Course in Miracles where Jesus says, like you've heard, if you're in the traditional Christian church, that phrase, I guess, from the Bible, the wages of sin is death. And I remember Jesus saying the wages of sin is death. So you should be glad that you can't sin, was the point he was making.
Mm.
So yeah, for some reason that resonated with me on this same level. So what he's saying is, don't insert an evaluation of an illusion and give it energy, etc. You just have to let it go because it can't be real. What's the criteria for being real, according to a course?
Eternal.
Love.
Yeah, that is. And I was on the one about love. If it's not loving, it can't be real.
Mm.
And in that sense, you can dismiss it immediately based on that criteria. Yeah. Thanks, Dee. Are there other comments on this paragraph? Then I think
I have a comment. I kind of lost what was said. Could you summarize what was said? I lost it in the interim. I apologize, but I did.
Dee, do you want to summarize?
I guess I was just making the point that if we start with the wrong premise, and the wrong premise is like in the first sentence, illness is therefore a mistake and needs, I don't, it just, where am I going with this?
Well, we're at a bit, read some of it that got you started on the discussion. That may help.
Okay.
She doesn't have the book, remember?
Okay. I guess in sentence 2, it got me started that,
Yes.
and as we have already emphasized, correction cannot be achieved by first establishing the rightness of the mistake and then overlooking it.
And we were just saying that there's no need to establish the rightness of it, because an illusion is an illusion is an illusion.
Okay.
and there are no degrees of illusions.
I
Like
got it.
this one is right or wrong, has nothing to do with the quality of whether it's an illusion or not.
I got it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Anybody else? We ready for Debbie?
Yeah, I thought
Yes,
the part
please.
that stuck out to me was about the fear. That if you're afraid of illness, if you're afraid of your illness, you can't really hide from it. I thought that was more interesting, like trying to find that balance of using the course, I guess, and your constant reminder of all the illnesses that exist on the planet versus, you know, I got the point that none of it's real because we're not really here. But yet my fear seems real.
Are you referring to sentence 7, Gina, or
Yeah,
fear cannot long be hidden by illusions, for fear is part of the illusion?
right. And but the sentence before that says that perhaps an illusion of health is substituted for a little while, but not for long. So it's a little confusing, but you know, it can go either way, right? We can believe that we're healthy. We can.
Where it says perhaps, you see where I am, sentence 6?
Yes.
Perhaps an illusion of health is substituted for a little while, but
Mhm.
not for long, is
Yeah.
referring back to sentences 4 and 5, isn't it? Yet that
Yeah,
is magic's purpose, to make illusions true through false perception.
and
This
that's the
can-
sentence that caught me, that we're making illusions true through false perception. So if we're starting with the wrong premise, we're going to end up with the wrong premise.
Mhm.
And so then he says, this cannot heal, for it opposes truth. Perhaps it can last for a while, but not for long. Is that the gist of it? So at best, magical fixes are temporary. At best, they may last a little while, but they won't be a cure or a solution.
And that's why my answer to your question was that it's eternal. How do you know it's real? That's where I was coming from when your answer was love, but that's where I was coming from when I said it's eternal.
That's true. It's just that it'll take a long time to evaluate the quality of being eternal.
No,
But
because
it
here
takes
it's
a
saying
short
that
time.
if the healing is temporary, it's not real. If the cure is temporary, it's not. That's where I was coming from.
Yes,
Tying it together.
and I'm with you at a certain level. It's just that how long would it take me to confirm something is eternal?
Well, if my
something
health
shorter.
changes constantly, so it can't be eternal.
Okay, I think we're on two different subjects.
Yeah.
One was,
Are
is
we?
it
Okay.
loving? Is it loving? That is the criterion for being real.
Okay.
So
And
Right.
yes.
So unless the fear is replaced with love, then we're only
Well, fear
through forgiveness, then we're not really addressing.
I think they're saying if you believe in any of it, if you believe that your health matters or your illness matters.
That's fear. That's coming from fear.
Yeah, it's a false, you have that falseness going on.
What I'm hearing is if there's two opposing factors, health or illness, then it's not real. But if it is what it is, then it's the truth because that's lasting, and love is what it is.
Yes. Sounds good.
Oh, it's like not a replacement. The nature of fear is temporary. And so you can evaluate it that way, Dee. I'm with you now on that, because it'll fall away. Anything temporary falls away to be left with love.
And
Love is the constant. It's the other one that's not always there.
yeah,
There was
I-
a comment there. Yes.
yeah, I often ask myself, is it changeable? If it's changeable, then it's not true.
That's a good criteria as well. And how long do you have to wait on the change, though, to confirm? Since we're going to stay here and beat this paragraph up tonight, let's do it.
Well, if it's changeable in your mind, then it's, it's like it's dealing with and I don't want to say law, but it's dealing with the principle that we have here, that love is love, and it's not changeable. Love is unconditional. Love is always love. So if I'm in a situation where I can invent several stories around my illness, then I know that it's not true, because it just isn't.
Anything that involves a body is changing.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not eternal. So that's,
No.
yeah, that's where I was yeah.
Yeah.
Illness or health. It's of the body.
So what we're talking about, what got us started here tonight, to me, is a discussion about the course's definition of forgiveness versus the secular world's definition. The secular world says, when I get to a certain spiritual level, I will look at your attacks on me and forgive them, even though they occurred, but I'll forgive them because I'm of a higher mind than you. I'm spiritual now. I bequeath forgiveness on you. I know it happened, but I'm going to lie about it. Isn't that what Jesus says, the world's definition? I know you did it, but I'm so good and pure that I'm going to lie about it.
Yep.
How does that differ from the course's definition?
Why is lie? I don't understand what lying has to do with forgiveness. When you truly forgive, really forgive, you have let it go. You may not think the act was kind, or maybe it was horrendous, illusion or not. But when you forgive, I call it peeling the layers of the onion. When you truly forgive, you've let it go.
On what
And
basis?
when you forgive, and when I know, I don't know if I'm right, but when I think I am in spirit, is when it flows smoothly and I'm in love and I'm at peace. That to me is in being in spirit.
I got you. Any other comments? You ready?
Isn't
Yeah. Deb?
isn't real forgiveness saying that it wasn't real? So I can
Yeah,
forgive
I'm with you,
because
Debbie. The basis of forgiveness, according to the course, is that if anyone attacks me, they're doing the impossible. It can't happen in truth. So what I'm seeing can't be true. I know it looked real. I know it felt real. But if it was not loving, it can't be anything but an illusion. And since illusions aren't real, how impacted should I be by an illusion? Can you let what didn't happen go? How easy is that for you to let what never happened, to not spend any time with unreality? You see, the point I guess I've been offering is the course's definition, the basis of forgiveness. Here, look at page 401 in the text with me real quick, okay? It's called What is Forgiveness? Is anyone there yet? You guys got to get faster page turning. I need someone to just read the first sentence under what is forgiveness.
In page 401 in the text?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, in the workbook.
Oh, let's see, I got there.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
Forgiveness
Thank you.
recognizes,
Pardon me?
forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred.
Read one more.
It does not pardon sin and make them real. It sees there was no sin.
That is the salient difference between the world's definition of forgiveness and A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles.
And that is what it's saying about illness. That was my that's exactly what it's saying about illness.
Exactly, Dee. So thank you. We're all the way back to our paragraph. And where it started was in the second sentence, rather, it says, and as we have already emphasized, correction cannot be achieved by first establishing the rightness of the mistake and then overlooking it. But I let it go on the basis of, can what never happened impact me?
No.
Then it should be easy to forgive, right? Okay, I think we're on the same page, right? I don't know, 20 minutes later. Other comments? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, maybe this is taking it a step too far, you can tell me, but so instead of, like with illness, instead of forgiving what we believe our brother did to us, we might be forgiving ourselves, our body, for what we think our body is doing
correct.
to us. My body thinks that cancer is real,
Yes.
for
And
example. Yeah,
that scary stuff is real.
yeah.
So I let scary stuff go, not on the basis of I'm stronger than it is, or I can fight it, or I can defeat it, or I can destroy it. I let it go because it can't be real, because it's not loving, and only things of love last forever. Are we doing, ladies and gentlemen there? Yeah, we smiling You ready?
Mhm.
Debbie,
Oh, we're ready for paragraph A? Okay. Sickness is insanity because all sickness is mental illness.
I guess we
And-
could have just read on, right?
Yeah, we could have just read this instead. And in it, there are no degrees. One of the illusions by which sickness is perceived as real is the belief that illness varies in intensity, that the degree of threat differs according to the form it takes. Herein lies the basis of all errors, for all of them are but attempts to compromise by seeing just a little bit of hell. This is a mockery so alien to God that it must be forever inconceivable. But the insane believe it because they are insane.
So they believe it because the belief is the sickness. Comments? Well, Sadhguru says the people in the insane asylum, they all think the doctor's crazy. Why? Because they're insane.
Because they think they're fine.
Right. It's the insanity that's making the perception show what has to change is how they perceive. The Course distinguishes earlier, it calls it right-minded perception or wrong-minded perception. Within each of them, they are internally consistent. All the patients in the insane asylum can see all the reasons the doctor must be insane. See how he's acting just like insane people. So,
And it says that in the first paragraph we read, sentence 4. Yet that is magic's purpose, to make illusions true through false perception.
yes, ma'am. We good?
That's
Who's next?
I am.
Thank you.
Imagine will defend his own illusions because in them he sees his own salvation. Thus, he will attack the one who tries to save him from them, believing that he is attacking him. This curious circle of attack defense is one of the most difficult problems with which a psychotherapist must deal. In fact, this is his central task, the core of psychotherapy. The therapist is seen as one who is attacking the patient's most cherished possession, his picture of himself. And since this picture has become the patient's security as he perceives it, the therapist cannot be seen as a real source of danger to be attacked and even killed.
And who's the psychotherapist again? Do you find them like at the Cleveland Clinic? Massachusetts General? Who's the psychotherapist they're talking about here who has the job of convincing someone, of trying to help somebody, and all their help is perceived as an attack? So you have to go to the Mayo Clinic to find people that do this psychotherapy work?
Oh,
My
No.
daughter's a psychotherapist. You could check her out in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Who's the psychotherapist they're talking about here? It's
Could it be any healer?
Anybody.
yeah, because all therapy is psychotherapy. All illness is mental illness. So as you go through your day, you're either playing the role. There are two roles you'll be playing. What are the two roles?
psychotherapist is the first one.
And the other, or you might be.
The patient.
Patient.
I could be the patient too.
Yeah. So I just wanted to
Me
do
and
that.
me.
Huh?
It's me, and me.
Yes. And yet, because of the split mind, like the ego mind or the Holy Spirit or right-minded or wrong-mindedness, we have to use the splits to heal each other, to bring them closer together. So whether you're here, let me put it this way. Would you say the psychotherapist plays a dominant role and the patient is being acted upon? So that's a subdominant role?
Think they're equal.
I think they're equal.
Sometimes.
I think it can be both ways.
Would you say that the male plays a dominant role and the female plays the subdominant role? We're back on metaphors. We're back on universal principles.
Depends who you are.
They all have their strengths.
And their weaknesses.
And their weaknesses.
They're both psychotherapists and patients. But when you bring them together, haven't you restored the whole?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got the people together when you bring the thoughts together and you heal. Yes, then you have the whole.
Okay. So you may be playing therapist today and patient tomorrow. It doesn't matter, does it? Remember in the course, Jesus says something like, who has the most strength at that moment should offer the help. Or you remember anything like that in the course?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm done.
Well, I think I'm in both roles all the time. I mean, I have the choice of both roles all the time, maybe it would be the way I'd say it, because it's always which one is going to kick in, my ego or my true self. Always.
Yeah.
And they're always at battle, really, within myself.
And because Kathleen, go ahead.
I was just going to say the reality of it is we function out of our mind. So if we're functioning out of our mind, then our mind can be either the therapist or the mind can either be the.
Correct. See,
Because it's like which one do you want to be today? Do you want to be the crazy egotistical psychotic person, or do you want to be the level-headed person who kind of is listening to spirit and reasoning out what the and realizing that the psychotic person is just a story that I'm telling myself.
And so if there's another comment. Was it you, Dee? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. At any moment, I'm at either one.
Right.
Listen, I wouldn't be here on this planet through this human form, etc., if I was not a product of a split mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a therapist on some things, but I'm a patient on some other things. And
So
so
there's really no one else out there. It's all me.
it's
Which
all-
role in, which role I'm playing in the moment.
yes. And what is the role of your brother or sister as part of you?
Right. And so,
Go ahead, dear.
so my comment would be, even if you were talking to a real human therapist, it doesn't matter what the therapist says, it's your perception of what the
Oh, of
therapist
course.
says. So it's
Absolutely.
it's still all in your mind.
And it also attests to your willingness to be open-minded
Mhm.
to the fact that maybe I am a patient on this. Maybe I do need to open up and accept help because my current self-concept does not seem to serve me the way I want with satisfaction. So, as crazy as it sounds, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not the world. Maybe it's not the breakup. Maybe it's not the firing. Maybe it is me.
And that really fits because people who get divorces, who do not really, well, yeah, let me put it this way. I don't want to use the word evaluate, but they become the psychotherapist. If they're the psychotherapist and they really evaluate what brought them to this point from their perspective, and they change it and they have a new dynamic, then they're going to meet somebody new that fits the new dynamic. So these people get a divorce and then 2 minutes later they're dating and 10 minutes later they're married.
And
Guess what?
15 minutes later, they're divorced again.
Right, exactly.
Why do I keep running into the wrong people? How come I always get the women that don't make sense? They're all crazy. Why me? How come I keep running into the wrong ones?
It's your fault because you're looking at them.
Yeah, but what if I'm not willing to admit that? Yeah. Do
Then
you
you keep
see
on making
that's
this
the
easy.
issue?
Yeah.
And we keep meeting the same person over and over again
Yeah, it's me.
in
It
different
wasn't
forms.
them, it was me. But that's the type of task that's being described here, isn't it? In psychotherapy, is getting people to let go of their current self-image and take a look at some new ones. All right. We happy? They're looking happy, the ones I can see here. Let me get
You made a very good point, Jim, when you said that when you go to a real psychotherapist, so to speak,
yes.
You're not there to, whether you realize it or not, to get the therapist's opinion. You are there to develop your own understanding to arrive at your own conclusion. In other words, you're not getting an answer from the therapist. The therapist, a good one, is only guiding you toward your own answers.
Helping you to work through it yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah. Debbie, did I see your hand up there?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and I think probably this is what we're really saying. So when my perception changes,
Then everything.
whether, no matter who it's through, a psychotherapist or whoever I'm talking to, everyone else around me changes. That spouse that I couldn't get along with
Yeah, I got you. Any other comments? Shall we read some more? I think we're up to D.
The psychotherapist then has a tremendous responsibility. He must meet attack without attack, and therefore without defense. It is his task to demonstrate that defenses are not necessary and that defenselessness is strength. This must be his teaching. If this lesson is to be that sanity is safe, it cannot be too strongly emphasized that the insane believe that sanity is threat. This is the corollary to the original sin, the belief that guilt is real and fully justified. It is therefore the psychotherapist's function to teach that guilt, being unreal, cannot be justified, but neither is it safe, and thus it must remain unwanted as well as unreal.
Somebody explain. Help me out. It's a lot there.
Well, I think it's a sure telltale sign that I'm with my ego when I become defensive.
Yep, we were talking last night, and remember Shakespeare, methinketh thou protesteth too much. You're becoming defensive. You must be afraid. What are you afraid of? How do I know you're afraid? Because you're defensive. And as we take this into the realm of psychotherapy, if I'm a therapist, if I'm the patient, I'm not willing to let go of my self-concept. Why?
Because it's who I think I am.
I would say because it's a protection.
Mm-hmm.
I have to hold on to this because of fear.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to let this go. It would make me so vulnerable to give up this identity that's been such a part of me for so long. And you're asking me you're telling me that they didn't attack me? You're telling me maybe I was the attacker? Yeah, but what about my innocence? I've spent a lot of time cultivating this. I've got a lot invested in this good person that I am. I am so good. Can't you see I'm good? Wait, ask Joe. Do you see the work of the psychotherapists? They have a tremendous responsibility to get through to me without attacking me. I got a lot invested in this self-concept. I'm so afraid to let it go. I know it's made problems, but you can't ask me to let it all go, can you? So what would you say, psychotherapist / teacher of God? Isn't that how the teacher of God operates?
That's how love operates. Not being with somebody so that they become defensive, not attacking them.
So do you see what a sophisticated art that is, to be able to get past people's defenses to help them.
It's guiding them. It's guiding them to get past their defenses. It's not saying it's not saying, well, if you do this, this, and this, you'll get there. It's like saying, well, what if you do this? And what if you do that? How do you think that will change the situation?
Mhm. And giving them a chance to participate,
Right.
with the understanding that if I don't get them to participate, this is not going to work no matter how
Right.
much artillery I bring to the therapist center. You can't do this through attacking someone's self-concept. So how do you get through, you teachers of God, you psychotherapists, you? Oh, I love these moments when it gets see, that's why I go speechless too. That's where the Holy Spirit comes in, because I don't have a clue how to do that. Debbie.
Well, I can think of one possible approach is that perhaps if whatever problem it is, if getting that ticket from the policeman because you were going too fast might have something to do with the way you're driving your car.
No, they
And
just
maybe
stepped it
if we
in for
change
me.
the perception of how we drive that car, what that purpose of that car is, possibly,
Yeah, but I
you
thought
know,
you
that's
were just a mean cop out to get me, right?
right. And that's still possible, but what's wrong with changing your,
Yeah,
you could still change your perception about your car.
yeah, but Debbie, I've had my license since I was 16 years old, okay? It's not me, it's the cops nowadays. Deb, very good point. Any other comments here?
Maybe what has helped is learning to just talk in as I statements. Gee, when that has happened to me, I have reconsidered. It has helped me reconsider looking at my part in my drive. I don't know, whatever. I statements instead of pointing a finger out at you.
And so you've already observed some of the Holy Spirit's techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've had some history with this, but the point is, this is a sophisticated art form, psychotherapy. Maybe the Holy Spirit knows how to do it. So do I remember to call on the Holy Spirit when I'm in practice? I don't have a clue how to do something this artistic, sophisticated, but there's someone within me who knows. Do you see where I'm going with this? These are the times you let go and let God. Because I don't know how to do it. Now, from the patient's point of view, who would it take to get the patient to be more open-minded? Who is it that could open them up? If the patient, who is it that could show the patient how to build a new self-concept?
Me.
The Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
the Holy Spirit, but
Yeah.
one, when I really am stuck, I surrender. I let go to God. I let the divine plan unfold. I have all my verbiage, but I really mean it.
And what about the patient? When the patient really comes and is confronted with this big obstacle now, here I've gotten in trouble being myself. I've gotten so much suffering through this self-image. Help, somebody show me. Okay, I'm willing to let it go or to try. Somebody help me. Who is it that they can call to within them?
Well, to the Holy Spirit.
So the point is that success is a three-way process.
Oh, yeah.
The patient's calling for help, and the psychotherapist is calling for help. Don't you see the same three parties in a holy relationship that the Course talked about, where instead of the special love relationship, they both give up that and call on the Holy Spirit to make it a holy relationship?
Yeah.
You see the same three involved here?
Mhm.
Both the therapist and the patient surrender.
Well, it's all of me.
I'm sorry, say that again, Sue.
It's all of me that surrenders.
Yes,
That's how I look at it.
yes.
And when it really is all of me, I know the difference.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, because sometimes we think, or I think, that all of me has surrendered. Okay, let's get the answer from the Holy Spirit. And no, all of me has not surrendered, because somebody comes back with resistance and says, I'll give you the answers. And
Yeah.
I'll churn this up further and further and further. And that's my clue that ain't Holy Spirit,
What, the churning?
ain't Holy Spirit.
Yeah, again, we use this phrase a lot. It's at the end of the first workbook lesson. It says a sense of leisure is essential.
Yes.
And so whenever things are churning up, whenever things are not flowing smoothly and together, it's a sign it ain't the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know the feeling, Sue. Any other comments here? Shall we continue, my friends? Hilda? Or is it
Well,
your?
I was just thinking from a practical point of view in
Yes,
this
ma'am.
in this world you're talking about, a psychotherapist and as a patient, and then getting the third person involved, is that before you, I think, the therapist starts out trying to figure out the patient is trying to figure out what the heck is this guy gonna say or do, or gal or whoever. I was listening to a little thing that from a Buddhist monk perspective, and I thought that whatever agreements that you were trying to accomplish is to start out by having a common prayer, if you will, to say that let's ask our spirit, whatever you call it, to help us resolve this. And I thought that would be because it kind of opens up the person, it relaxes you, maybe includes a little meditation to go inside of you. And the next thing you know, I mean, you're receptive in a way that you may not have been, because at first it's an adversary relationship. He's wanting to find out about me, and by golly, I don't want to tell. but if you relax, maybe you have a chance.
Both
Have a
people
successful session.
give a bit, let go a bit, relax
it
a
down.
bit.
Mhm.
But once again, I heard you mention that third party.
Well, that's right, because as a patient, you call upon your higher power, and as a psychotherapist, you call upon your higher power. So both of them are calling on the higher power, but it happens to be, it's the same thing, because that higher power is the same for both of them.
And so who's the real therapist?
I beg your pardon?
So who's the real therapist? The psychotherapist is calling on them, and the patient is calling on them.
Right.
Who's the real therapist?
The Holy Spirit.
Yes,
The
sir.
third person.
It's that third party. So, shall we continue? Thank you, Rod. We got a next reader here. I think it's Ron himself. We
I
I thought it was me.
I think Joan is next.
Yep, Joan. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Joan.
Okay.
We're on the
Salvation.
11, right?
Salvation's single doctrine is the goal of all therapy. Relieve the mind of the insane burden of guilt it carries so wearily, and healing is accomplished. The body is not cured. It is merely recognized as what it is. Seen rightly, its purpose can be understood. What is the need for sickness then? Given this single shift, all else will follow. There is no need for complicated change. There is no need for long analyses and wearying discussion and pursuits. The truth is simple, being one for all.
Comments?
I love that last sentence. The truth is simple, being one for all.
Well, help me out with the first sentence. What does that mean? You see it. Salvation's single doctrine is the goal of all therapy.
I think the
then
next
it
sentence
says-
answers
it
that.
says
Relieve
what
the
it-
mind of the,
Yes. Yes.
I
Relieve,
think the next sentence answers that. Relieve the mind of the insane burden of guilt it carries, and healing is accomplished.
yes, I totally agree. It made me think of the Son of God is sinless. If I could just get you to let go of your ideas of sin based on the notion that how likely is it for perfection to make a mistake? So if you were created from a perfect source, how could you be rendered imperfect? Particularly if the source was love. What's loving source would do that? It's kind of a mean thing to do. Somebody help me talk about it. You understand? The Son of God is sinless. If I'm the Son of God, how can I also sin? They don't go together, or maybe I'm not understanding. What do you think? Salvation's single doctrine that you can't sin. Go ahead, comment there.
Well, that depends on our self-confidence, who do we think we are? And our higher self, who we really are, is the one that's sinless and perfect.
But right now, we see ourselves, we see glimpses of the higher one, but in strong contention is this human flaw. Nobody is perfect concept. I have both. Sometimes I'm more on the high side, and then I go to work or I go out here, and then I hear the killings and the murders and the wars. It's really hard to be one way, isn't it? But the Son of God is sinless. If I would just be able to operate from that 24/7, I could walk full stride knowing I walk in perfection.
That's the healing of my split mind.
Yeah. Jesus says, I have nothing that does not come from God. This is a state that's only potential in you. Your problem is right now you have that plus something else, and that something else is dragging you down. You're not something else. Is that not what salvation says? Is that you're not, there's nothing to be defensive or protective about, because you were rendered perfect by perfection. What else could render a perfect creation? A perfect source? If two dogs get together, can they have a giraffe? Do you see what I'm getting at? It makes a lot more sense that if my source is love, that I would be what my source is. And what else could I be? Talk to me, somebody.
But I could choose to be something else.
Yes. In your dreams. I don't care how much I choose to be something else. It'll only be that way in my mind.
In my mind.
How do you change reality through your choice? No offense to or anything, but I can't change reality. Only reality is real. I can do a lot of things to cover it up and block it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I want you to realize the last sentence there. It says the truth is simple. It doesn't bear a lot of analysis. It's not complicated. Can perfection be complicated? I see
No.
some head shakes there, and anybody
No.
want to talk about that? Can perfection, if something's perfect, would it be complicated? Isn't that one of the attributes of perfection? It's simplicity.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy, man. It's user friendly. Just It's not rocket science, dude. Just see, you can get into that, right? It's simple, right? But my
Well, yeah,
ego-
with one answer is, oneness is simple. It's back to lesson 79 and 80, where there's one problem and one solution.
yeah.
And in oneness, there's not multiple answers.
Do you
Simple.
see how simple this is? But how our ego indoctrination makes us push this simple explanation aside in favor of the self-image that we and the world have cultivated. Anything else? Then, believe it or not, we've been we're on page 11. We finished paragraph 11. Shall we continue? We got a little bit of time here.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. We're back to Gina. No,
No, it's my turn.
now we're at Ron. Thank you.
The process of healing. While truth is simple, it must still be taught to those who have already lost their way in endless mazes of complexity. This is the great illusion. In its wake comes the inevitable belief that to be safe, one must control the unknown. This strange belief relies on certain steps which never reach to consciousness. First, it is ushered in by the belief that there are forces to be overcome to be alive at all. And next, it seems as if these forces can be held at bay only by an inflated sense of self that holds in darkness what is truly felt and seeks to raise illusions to the light.
Thanks, Ron. Any comments on this one?
So even though truth can be simple, our minds don't look at it that way, at least not all the time, because we live in an egoic world, and we have this ego that tells us we need to be in control, we need to be in charge, we need to be number one, because we think that'll bring us what we want in life, and it's just the opposite.
Why is the doctrine of the ego that we need to be in control, that we must, I guess, fear the unknown and protect ourselves from it? Why is that the advice of the ego?
Because we believe in the ego, and the ego believes in fear, believes in war, believes in defending ourselves. And none of that is true according to the Course.
Yeah, I'm with you. Why does the ego believe that? Why does it, no, why does the ego tell us that?
Part of the ego, part of its goal is problem solving. Always problem solving.
Why?
That's how it controls. You got to have a
Why
problem
does
to
it
solve
need
it.
to control? Okay, let me go to it. Because it's afraid.
Well, yeah, because of fear. You know, you brought up fear several times today, and I'm reading a book, and I don't know if I ever mentioned it, called The Way Out. It's for people with chronic illness,
Yes.
mental, physical, basically from the brain. And one of the bases of it is you talk to your illness, et cetera, but you learn how to eliminate the fear. And they have actually shown that they had people go through this whole program. In the beginning, they took pictures of the brain. At the end, they took pictures of the brain again, and you do this ongoing the rest of your life. But they took pictures, the brain actually changed.
Yeah, once again, there are many studies that are coming to these spiritual conclusions through scientific method.
Yes. And the people don't have chronic pain anymore.
So it was a mental thing?
It was, no, they really have a physical condition. The condition doesn't change. The condition remains, but the pain leaves.
Because of a mental change?
Because of, well, you'll call it a mental change. The brain actually changes.
Yes.
The brain is convinced that you're not experiencing pain, that you're okay.
Okay.
I'm simplifying it, obviously.
Well, yeah, I guess it's more anecdotal, but it said Jesus was in a state like that on the cross.
Yeah.
Maybe the pain was there, but okay. So I've forgotten the point I was headed for, but thank you for that comment, Sue. Oh, did you appreciate my comment back about it made me think of Jesus's mental state at
Yeah,
the crucifixion,
because
right?
this is like a miracle. It's amazing that you're not experiencing pain. So
Yeah.
what did happen to him?
So in the Course in Miracles, y'all remember that section called Above the Battleground? Makes me think of, see how many metaphors there are? Do you see why Jesus said, what I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you specific training, but I need you to generalize these examples because they always work in every situation. So to me, I saw glimpses of that in the study that Sue was talking about. Is there, gee whiz, I'm lost here. Did we finish the first paragraph, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
Don't laugh at me, it can happen. Any other
Oh,
comments
nothing.
here?
How many paragraphs have we done this time? I mean, it's a wonderful discussion group. I'm saying this.
I think
just
we're on our
laughing.
5th paragraph tonight. And let's get in one more and it'll be pretty much time to start wrapping things up. I'm in paragraph 2 and I think we're back to Gina.
Okay,
Thank
let
you.
us remember that the ones who come to us for help are bitterly afraid. What they believe will help can only harm. What they believe will harm alone can help. Progress becomes impossible until the patient is persuaded to reverse his twisted way of looking at the world, his twisted way of looking at himself. The truth is simple, yet it must be taught to those who think it will endanger them. It must be taught to those who will attack because they feel endangered, and to those who need the lesson of defenselessness above all else to show them what is strength.
So listen, I gotta go back to what I was saying before. The reason that the patient is afraid to give up their concept is that they don't trust that if they give it up, that they'll be all right. The reason for that is they're operating under the auspices of the ego, And what did we say last night, or we've said before? What is the ego's range of activity?
Suspicious to vicious.
It can't, okay. Do you see, it is literally the idea of fear. The ego is literally the idea of fear. So if I believe and identify with the ego, how can I ever get rid of fear? Because the best I'm going to do is suspiciousness. You know, you better watch that one. I'm getting a bad vibe about that one. And, oh, I don't know. They smile, but I don't know. And, you know, they're from Turkey, or they're from Tennessee, or I better. Is there ever anyone that can meet your criteria that you don't hold some level of pushback against, that you're not somewhat suspicious of? Doesn't that sound just like the ego? Hello?
Mhm. Yep.
So the problem is I am identifying with the epitome of fear. It fears everything. It's not capable of trust. It's not capable of letting go. But when I can start finding some separation between me and the ego, and finding out there is another voice, when I'm willing to just try it, just trust it, just a little, then something can start to happen, because I'm starting to make new agreements. I'm starting to make new identifications. That is the only problem, that I identify with a mistake. And so what's the solution for the mistake? Stop it. The only problem is you have to practice till you can stop it 24/7. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. You know what is it that keeps me working on it? I guess the same thing that keeps you coming back for more. What is it that keeps you working on it all these years now?
Seeing that my old way doesn't work and the new way does. That's what keeps me coming back.
It works. That's why I keep doing it. Okay, I go to church, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, but bottom line, common sense, it's compelling because it seems to always friggin' work. Isn't that why you do it?
Mhm.
Haven't you seen it do some extraordinary things in your life? Hasn't it brought a lot of relief from things you suffered over? And maybe you're not there yet, but there's something compelling about it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spooky at first, but when you are in that zone more and more, happier and happier and happier. And I don't know about you, but that's what I'm looking for, is forgiveness is the key to happiness. 121, forgiveness offers everything I want. You mean you can find all of this by having the courage to let go? And we would all say to our brothers and sisters, yes, and we are witnesses to the effect. Comment. Well, are you happy? At least
Yes.
for the next 5 minutes. Then mission accomplished, right? And by the way, thank you for the help on how we should, the pace of our talks. And we'll just come and work on this beautiful writing and finish them up, psychotherapy and the Song of Prayer. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are as well. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to get paid before I leave here tonight, if you would. All right, all right,
Certainly.
all right, all right. I see Ron is getting on into it. Wait, I gotta look at the other screen. Yay! Hey guys, thank you for coming out this evening. Are there, and let's see, we left off, we finished paragraph 2, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
So are there any final comments or questions or anything?
I have
Oh,
a final comment. You said just stop it. And I don't know if anybody has watched it, and if you haven't, it's worth going to YouTube and Googling Bob Newhart. Stop it.
Oh yeah,
It's hilarious. It's just a
that's
few
a
minutes.
classic.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I remember
it's
that.
it's great. It's absolutely
Mhm.
great.
Indeed, Bob Newhart. Hey, we're all old enough to remember Bob Newhart, so don't act like, okay, Deb.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, wasn't it last week that Sweetie was on and was going to the doctor? I just wondered if anybody heard anything. Just
No,
thought I'd ask. Okay.
good question.
Yes,
Yes.
she went to the doctor, and she's going to be scheduled for hip surgery sometime. She thought in November, December, and in the meantime, she said she got a lot of answers that were great, and is going to physical therapy to help with the pain in the meantime.
Oh, good for her. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just-
And
Thanks for asking.
give Sweetie our love, okay?
Yeah, tell her yeah.
Thank you, I will.
We're still, at least I know I'm still praying, she's still on the prayer list, and yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe she'll be able to join us next week. I hope so.
Mhm.
Anything else, my friends?
Mhm.
Gilda, would you close us out, please?
I'd be happy to do that. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. So here I go. I am the light of God.
I am the light of God.
I am the love of God.
I am the
I
love of God.
am the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the
I am the
power.
power of
I am the
God.
power of God.
I am the presence of God.
I
I
am
am
the
the
presence
I
of
presence
God.
of God.
Presence of God.
Therefore,
Therefore,
wherever I am,
wherever I am,
Wherever I am,
God is,
God is,
God is.
God
and
is.
all is
all
well.
is well.
All is
And
well.
is
all
nothing-
is well.
Amen.
There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Namaste.
Nothing to fear,
Namaste.
only love.
Namaste. my
Namaste.
friends.
Namaste.
See you next time.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank
Bye,
you. Thank everyone.
everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
Have
Bye-bye.
a blessed week.
Great
Bye.
week.
You.
Have a beautiful week.